Hello, Joe. Welcome to your diary entry for the week. We are going to check in on your homework. I'm definitely keeping you accountable for that, but you are giving me a look, and I know there's a story behind it. How are you
Uh,
feeling today, my friend?
I know this is it's like we've been saying it's boring that I say I'm tired, but like I legitimately am so tired today. I reckon I slept for like a max of 3 hours last night. And I actually woke up and was like, how did I do small babies? Because I don't remember being able to function on this little sleep. And then I was like, oh, that's right. I was one of those smug people that had sleeping babies. So I actually didn't do.
No,
I know.
you're not
So
prepped for this.
I'm not. I'm not. I actually am not prepped. I literally am that smug mum that my eldest slept through the night from like 11 weeks old and the second one from 9 weeks old.
Cool. So all
And
all the rest of us are saying karma right now.
I know, right? And so mine is now just with my own adult head noises and my two still sleeping babies downstairs.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I we had an early start with Hugh on a 6:30 a.m. flight, which is a sort of waking up with a 4 in front of us to get him to the airport because we now only have one car because I sold the car.
well, that's a
So
win.
that's a win.
Congratulations.
I know.
You've got to take them.
And yeah, I'll take them because literally we had one human. Well, actually, they might have been humans, but one person that wasn't trying to scam us on Facebook Marketplace like that. I think we've talked about that already. Man, it is a jungle out there. But yeah, so just even getting up and logistics of just getting again driving to an airport and leaving my kids asleep in bed and then coming back in time to wake them up to put them on the school bus. Um, but I just my brain is busy, like it's busy, like the ticking the car. We literally only sold the car yesterday, so that was a really good thing, and I thought that might have helped me have a bit more of a snooze last night, but apparently not, because my brain then went to, okay, but there's still one more car and a house to sell. So we'd
So are
also
you
had a
still,
conversation.
sorry,
Sorry,
are you
go.
still in that scenario planning space, or is it a busy list of things that you actually have to get done now? Because you're a week closer to leaving, and that means
Yeah.
you're getting closer to actually having to do stuff. Is it busy mind or actual busy Joe?
I actually think it's busy mind actually because while we're a week closer to leaving, we are literally 1 week out to the house auction. And so I think that is only just starting to kick in to me as well. I think because it's, well, segue into me doing my homework and have been going for walks in the evening,
Good.
and we're getting sort of like a season change, and it's not like 10,000 degrees outside, and so it's just this really beautiful shoulder season at the moment, which is the time where I really do love where we live because it's just so beautiful, and it's like, still warm enough to be out walking in shorts and t-shirt, but it's just not like sweat dripping off me, or
You've
it's
got
not like
you've got
this
that to look forward
oppressive
to in
oven.
Bangkok.
Yeah, I know. And everyone sort of said the time we're arriving is like the hottest part of the year as well. So it's, I know I'm literally jumping out of the dry oven into the dumpling steamer. Can we go with
Love that.
analogies like? Um, so I think things, if we go back to sort of talking about the, grieving things, I think I had my first glimpse of what grieving the house looks like. And I think that was probably reaffirmed because we spoke with the agent yesterday who has said it looks like we've got at least two people that are going to register to bid next week if he can't get them over the line prior. And I don't know, I guess it sort of just started making it feel a little bit more real. And when you're counting down, our temporary accommodation has all sort of come through from when the packers are booked to come, that we're out of the house, and that, so we're down to like, I don't know, not many days left and not many nights sleeping in the beds and things. And I don't know, I guess that's sort of probably sinking in more than I realise. And, I think then that added layer over it of sort of managing what that looks like with the kids as well. And, we're going to have to give the dog over, like, we're having our farewell party this weekend that Hugh's now not going to be at. It's going to be just my farewell party.
Oh, Joe. I mean, and we know you like being the center of attention, so I think you'll love that a little bit. But also,
I know,
that's kind of
hilarious.
sad that you don't get to share that as part of like that goodbye of your home and your community. That's sad.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad for him, I think. Um, but again, he just sort of got on the plane and he hadn't slept well last night either. He just was like, oh my gosh, I just need to get on this next plane after this and just lie down and go back to sleep. So, but even us, like, we're still both, in that restless sleeping, and you can hear the other person isn't asleep either. And so at like 2 o'clock this morning, when I still hadn't gone to bed, we were both awake. And so we were like, we need to decide on like an absolute, what's the least we're willing to take for the house. Like, I've got to sit now at this auction by myself in the back room while there's hopefully lots of bids happening. But I also, like the agent has said, you need to be prepared prior to it. You need to know what the lowest thing you'll take is. And so, we've been balancing those scenario planning of like, what if it doesn't sell at all, and what do we need to action as far as getting tenants into it, to then, okay, well, what if it does sell and they don't offer as much as we want? What does that number look like? What does it look like if there's an offer and we're not willing to take it? And then is this the headache of managing all of this? And so, I don't know.
So back to scenario planning a little bit.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
you two had two other pieces of homework. Do you remember them?
My three things for homework were the walking and exercise. Oh, I think you made it a bit more general and was self-care. So I booked a haircut for tomorrow. I
Excellent.
have booked in for a facial with a voucher that I got for Christmas from my Secret Santa. I've been for 4 walks in 7 days.
Love this.
I moved a meeting tomorrow so that I could go for a walk with my best mate along the river. I rearranged things today so I could come and work from my friend's farm. And so I think the second bit of homework was like the who's looking out for me. And I think I was being a bit woe is me last week, but I've had these 3. So the girlfriend that I'm here with today, and then 2 other girlfriends that have just sort of spontaneously been reaching out this week and being like, what can we do? Like, what do you need to do? Plus my mother-in-law, so she's really desperate to help. She's like, when can I start cleaning? I was like, hold your horses, wait till all the furniture's gone, then you can come and clean till your heart's content.
And have you
And
been
so,
able, because of the homework was to reach out to your community and to let them know how you're feeling. And so
yep,
it sounds like they reached out to you, which I love, but have you been honest in your return to them?
yes, thank you. So yes, oh yes, definitely honest in the return to the ones that reached out. Also, another mate, he messaged this morning and was like, okay, what can I bring on the weekend? And I said, oh no, this was yesterday. What can I bring as far as food? He and my husband always compare notes about how they married the same woman, and we always laugh because both of us hate cooking and both of our husbands do all the cooking. And so he messaged me yesterday and said, what can I bring as far as food to the party? And I said, do you know what? I'm taking help. I said, if I drop some meat around, will you cook it? And he said, no. How about I just organise? And then I got a text like 2 hours later. He said, 2 kilos of pulled pork organised. So,
Amazing.
which is awesome. And I said, thank you. I am saying yes to help. But I know that other people reaching out to me wasn't my homework, and that reaching out was. And so I actually did ponder that, and I actually put a text into my still very active book club in Singapore, who I could never bear to remove myself from the WhatsApp group because the banter in there is next level. And, half the book club isn't even in Singapore anymore and no one leaves the chat. So, there's a few in the US and there's one that's moving soon to the UK. There's one in South Africa. There's myself in Oz, soon to be Thailand. So I I was just sort of joining in the normal banter in there, and then I just threw a P.S. I know I've done this before, but like I'm feeling like a crazy person doing this time. And while they all sort of laughed, um, the Singapore crew have all booked in a weekend to come. So off the
That's
back of it, they're all
awesome.
coming to Bangkok once we get there. So, which is really good.
I love that. Okay. So two pieces
So
of
it wasn't
homework
so
done.
much in, yeah, it wasn't so much in the like, oh, here's some advice or strategies or things like that, that it was they all know that the extrovert will totally benefit from a visit where they all get to have fun and come and see me in new habitat. So I think
And
that
I
was,
think, I mean, the idea is not everyone's going to feel supported in their own way. And for you to have that to look forward to in this time where there's so
mm,
much uncertainty and where your head's spinning, to know when you land in Thailand, you've got these people that you're so close to that you're going to see in real life for the first time in a couple of years, and you've got that fun on the horizon, makes
mm,
this period a little bit easier. While you also sounds like you've got your community wrapping their arms around you
yeah,
as they farewell you as well, which is so
yeah,
beautiful. Your
yeah.
third piece of
And
homework was very practical. You were going to schedule an appointment with your therapist. Did you do that?
yes. So, well, and I probably didn't disclose this properly last week. I pretty much have 6 months appointments in the calendar in advance at all times. And so it was more of just like a diary check, and there is an appointment next week. So
Okay.
I am
So you were off the hook with
past
that
Joe is
anyway.
already hacking future Joe's life,
That's really
um,
great, though. I think that's a
which is
good
good.
tip for everyone, actually. If you are someone who has engaged in therapy, to sort of keep up that regular cadence, just so you have the
Mm,
backup for times like this. And if you haven't gone down that path yet, check out our lab on
mm,
personal. Hang on, what's it called? Check out our lab on identity shifts, where we speak with a practitioner, and we've got a checklist in there about the different things that you can look for in trying to find the right kind of therapy for you.
mm,
Because it's going to be different for everyone, just like
mm,
self care and community care is different for everyone.
mm, yeah. And I
Oh,
think
hey,
like,
I'm proud of you. That's really hard
well,
stuff.
I had it, yeah, but I had it like written on my remarkable so that it was the first page every time I opened it up because I was like, I know she'll ask me on a recorded call.
But this is also something that you do really well, Joe. And it did come up last episode, your to do lists. You are very good at writing them. And you made a note last week that you hadn't been doing it for this whole move. You'd been relying on other people to do it. So the only to do lists you'd done, I think, were for the party and
Mm.
packing up the house or something, like two quite
No, I
random
don't even think I'd
things.
done that.
Yeah.
Just the
So,
party.
but I know you well enough to know that that is something that you do to keep yourself like going and in check, and it's just routine to you. So the fact that that has dropped off shows that things are a bit off kilter at the moment.
Mm. And it's interesting because that's a strategy that I've worked with my psychologist for so long, and she will ask me next week. I know she'll be like, "Okay, so how are your lists going?" Like, and I'm going to be like, "Well, the party was awesome because I wrote a list." But yeah, like I just, yeah, the mental checklist is not serving me well because that is literally what was ticking over last night.
Yeah. And were you able to
Yeah.
get any of it out and onto paper or into an app, or did you just sit
Yeah,
there
onto my phone,
scrolling through
and
it?
then I'm like putting things in the calendar and setting reminders at different times and stuff, which then, of course, the light from my phone is just, yeah, look, I
Didn't
didn't
help.
win. I didn't win. I didn't win last night.
That's all right. You can't win them all. And
No,
hopefully
no.
there's some good sleep around the corner.
Mm. Well, also just being like I could, and this was even prior to having the the rubbish night's sleep, is that I can feel overwhelmed cooking, and so literally had already organised to come and have the day out here working, sort of co-working with my friend today, but knew enough that I was like, oh man, I'm gonna need to, like, can the kids catch the bus home with your kids? Can you feed us? And then we'll go home. Like, I can see that otherwise it's going to be cereal for dinner at home, and then I know I've then got raddest kids the next morning because they woke up because they're hungry because they've had cereal for dinner.
But again, like that's a level of self awareness I think not everyone has to be able to recognize those signs. Like I know for myself when overwhelm has come and actually overwhelmed me numerous times, and it's not until you've seen that a few times I think that you can see it bubbling and be able to do what you've done. So like how does that show up for you? It's going to be different for everyone, but I think it would be useful for people to hear about like what are the signs for you that make you realize actually I need to put some steps in place. And I'm sure one of them is the fact that you are a mum looking after your kids, and so you can't just let it all collapse, because I think when you're just one person it's easy for a little bit easier for overwhelm to overwhelm.
Mm. Well, very obvious ones for me is like heightened anxiety, like straight up, like those feelings of feeling like impending doom where I know there's actually not, and I can immediately be like, oh, that's you feeling anxious. So that's generally my initial very telltale sign. The sleep, I guess, like disturbed sleep, that's generally something that's a pretty big red flag whacking me in the face. But I think it's it quite often shows its head. And again, having very good girlfriends, like the girlfriend whose house I'm at today, we have forever spoken very openly with each other about our own sort of mental health things. And so I think even just in what would normally have been a general conversation, because I must subconsciously know with her that I can talk when I'm not feeling great, that I actually hear myself talking about it before I've actually thought about or recognize that I'm feeling it. So those are all quite, I guess, that's the result of years and years of therapy, I guess, of being able to be self-aware enough of those things. But I don't know, that the other sort of more the other ways that it sort of shows up is that, like, being really lethargic, like, and sort of just like eh, finding it hard to sort of get stuck into doing any work, or just getting stuck into the day. It's sort of
Yeah.
that lethargy kicks in as well. So I guess, and like I'm feeling all of those things at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you for coming and sharing that with us. I know it's not easy, and there was thoughts of rescheduling, and yeah, the hard
Yeah.
taskmaster over here forced you in. Um,
No, and it's good because I think as well that my normal disposition is the reason that I think probably things get further along than they should with me, is because my normal personality is relatively positive and upbeat and things. And so um, I am pleased that we do this now while I feel like shit, because you can actually sort of, I feel like that glass half full sort of attitude I've generally got to life and things, I know can be a real punish for a lot of people to interact with, because they're sort of like, God, does this girl ever have like down days? Like, and again, I think that that's why a lot of people wouldn't even sort of think to be like, oh, do you reckon she's all right or whatever? Because I sort of normally bouncing around quite happy. So no, it's quite good. And again, the ability for me to watch this back in maybe not too distant future or in years to come, to be like, oh yeah, that's right, I do get like that sometimes.
And it's normal, and everyone gets like
Yeah,
that. I think
yeah.
that's the thing. Yes, you are a very positive person and presence, and it's one of the things that I love about you, but you're also really honest and real about the things that you're experiencing. And I think to share that it's not all up is really important for other people to see as well. And not wanting to like kick you while you're down, but um, I'm just thinking about the fact that you have got this beautiful community around you and that you've got friends that you've known your whole life that you can go and spend the day with when you're feeling down, and you're about to pull yourself out of all of that into a brand new country. And yes, you've got girlfriends that are going to come visit, and there's a whole other world that you're looking forward to. But like, how are you feeling about, I guess, when you're feeling like this and knowing that you're not going to have that in the days that you're feeling the way you're feeling today when you land in Thailand? Because you will feel like this, because we know this overwhelm comes with a relocation. Have you taken yourself there, or are you prepared to? Well, make me take you
Yeah,
there.
yeah. Do you know what? That doesn't bother me at all. So I guess, thing to enlighten you and people sort of listening along. Majority of the community that we've sort of talked about that are physically located near me, I have met as adults. So these aren't my, I isn't my hometown, like, small country town people do hometowns. Like, my hometown's 5 hours drive away. So these are friends that I have met at a different state, pretty much uni. I moved here as a 19-year-old, so some of my friends here would be those. Actually, there's a few that I went to. Again, it is still country town enough. There are a few that I went to high school with that live here as well. But majority, if I think of say, my handful of girlfriends that I see and speak to on a daily/weekly, um, like that regularly, a couple I met at uni, and the rest of them I've met in the last sort of 10 to 12 to 15 years. And so I don't feel this relocation is sort of tearing away at those, whole life things, as if this is sort of, the one and only place that I have ever lived and am leaving for the first time and things. So I don't feel that at all. But I also, that idea of them not physically being in Bangkok doesn't worry me at all, because while I've got my, say, 4 or 5 girlfriends that I see and speak to really regularly here, I've got that again with probably another 5 or 6 girlfriends that I would again talk to every other day that live interstate, and 2 that live abroad that
Yeah.
would be. And so the physical location doesn't worry me whatsoever. Like, again, I'm just thinking about the girlfriend whose house I'm at today. Like, when we were living in Singapore, I would quite regularly ring her when I was walking down to the gym, and I would just have her in my headphones while I was either on the treadmill or doing some weights, or like I did when I lived in a condo, which I literally haven't done for like 3.5 years. So this is like, just to set the scene. Also, this is not a regular thing for me. But she would already be 2 or 3 hours ahead of me time zone wise. And so she's already put the kids on the bus and, is having a cup of tea or just getting stuck into her work day. And she works for herself. And so I could sit and do weights or a walk or something, and we just chat, and she could still be just the 45 k's away that her farm is
Yeah.
from my farm here. So that physical distance piece, I've never ever felt geographically isolated, which I know a lot of people do, and I genuinely think that's because I've grown up in a rural area. I'm used to the tyranny of distance.
And you've done the relocation thing a few
Mm.
times, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
So I guess you know that those relationships can sustain distance too.
Mm. But I also did that relocation piece where you would never use that terminology for it at the time. But, like, the first time that I went overseas for an extended period of time, I was 21, and I deferred uni for a semester, and I went and worked at a ski resort in California as a 21-year-old, where my parents were like, oh, okay, see ya. Like, I found somewhere to live. I found a job. I found friends when I arrived. And so the the that actual arriving somewhere else, I'll be like, see ya, old friends. I'm like, where's my new ones? Where's the next ones that I get to add to this collection? So that's not worrying me whatsoever, like at all. I'm actually that whenever I get a bit like, oh my God, I'm like, oh yeah, but I get to, I get to meet new people. Like I get to, that's like very much a positive. That quite often is a pick me up when I'm like,
I think we've talked about this in lots of different elements across Alora of the kind of person that's attracted to being an accompanying partner, not that, or to just doing the relocation. Maybe not so much drawn to the accompanying partner status. I'm not sure if anyone in the Alora community is here solely because they were drawn to being an accompanying partner, but that sense of adventure that comes with relocating and what's ahead, that is different, and not everyone has that. So I think it's something to treasure as well. That it's a uniqueness. There's people who are very happy living their lives, whether it's in a regional place or a suburban location. And the idea of picking up and leaving is something they can't even comprehend. And I've had that conversation with lots of friends before. Like they can't believe that we just packed up and moved to Singapore. And so you are off to meet people who have that sense of adventure that you have, and that's exciting.
mm, mm. I know we've sort of talked about it, but that sort of is landing a bit differently today. Because, yeah, that's. And I wonder if that's off the back of, we did a session in the lab, and one of the members was talking about that concept of while you often feel as the accompanying partner that, your career's on hold and you're doing all of these things for your partner's next steps or stage or trajectory or whatever, but she sort of just brought up the point around like you still as the partner have a choice in this. Like you as a team have decided to do this, I hope, in most circumstances, yes, that's been a team decision. And that you, while it's not your career that is the driver behind it, you as the team have made that decision. And you do actually need to lean into that a bit and have that set your attitude and your way of thinking about things.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like I love it because I get to go and do these different things and I don't have to have the pressure of being the breadwinner. My husband's like, feel free to get a job where we get to follow you. I was like, oh no thanks, I don't want that pressure.
I think it's an important point. It's actually one I have been thinking about a bit of, because I do think the conversations that we have here are from a very privileged position, and I am aware that not everyone is able to move the way that we've been able to move, and from things like the safety of a relationship, which is very much two-way and supportive and not one person dominant, which I know you and I both have, but that's not going to be the case for everyone. And I think it's a lot of people, particularly accompanying partners, have that experience where there is an actual loss of power in the relationship, and you say, and we haven't tackled any of that because it's not our experience, and I'm not sure whether we will.
But I agree with you, and I think that there is, you're getting, I guess, an experience currently through Alora with a rather similar lens from the two of us, and that there is safe and respectful relationships that our movements have happened with, and I think very much acknowledging that we did in Alora's past life as the Trailing Spouse Co. ran a session with a lawyer who specialises in expat divorce, and they're based at a firm in the UK. And I think that it's probably we're probably due to sort of bring that conversation back in as well, because I think it is an element of all of those things that we've just sort of talked about, that there is added complexity to relocations for a lot of people. And also something is that passport privilege as well. Like you and I, again, we both have Australian passports, which is just such a different experience to so many other people around the world, and what that experience means when you are in a certain place. And like, Singapore is a country that you and I can both talk to, having lived there and currently live there, around the, I guess, living almost in a state of sort of hypervigilance for a lot of people with who have less flexible passports on other countries on where they can go. And you really are at the whim of your employer, where if your contract is terminated, you have 30 days to leave the country. And for a lot of people, going back to their home country is not safe, or there is no opportunity, or the ability for them to return home isn't easy or clear. So I think that there's lots of added things that, again, I can't even fathom that experience. I've sort of heard it talked about a lot with friends and things, but I can't fathom what that means, because it makes it very easy for me with my Australian passport, in a safe, respectful relationship, to be able to say yes to adventure, because we know that if things all fall over, we get on a plane and we go home to our politically stable and safe country, where we can pretty much get jobs quite easily when we arrive, can find somewhere safe and affordable to live, and we can sort of carry on with life. And I know and acknowledge that is not the case for everyone.
Yeah. And I think I just wanted to acknowledge that privilege that we hold, and the fact that you and I are really aware of it. I don't think we talked about it on camera before, but it is something we recognise as two white middle class women doing this. We are a minority, I think, and we're not speaking for everyone, and we are conscious of making sure those voices are heard as we grow and evolve as a Laura.
So does anyone else want to record their whole relocation journey with us?
I'll try and make you cry.
I was going to say, Emma's one goal in life out of a series like this is to try and make you cry on camera. So if we've got any volunteers that are interested.
One goal. All right. Well, I think we should let you rest. Thank you so much for coming here, being so vulnerable, being so honest. We really appreciate it. I know that other people hearing you going through this down will help them get up. So, and I hope that you get a really good rest. You get some energy from your friends and a good feed and a good night's sleep. And you don't have to be back and bubbly, but just feeling a little bit more yourself tomorrow.
Well, I kind of do have to, because I'm going to have like 50 people at my house.
Well, we all know that you're going to be fine on that. I have like zero concerns about you at your party. You'll be on fire. You'll be Joe at 100. It'll just be like the days leading up and the days after.
Well, the days after, when we record this next week, my God. So
can't wait for the debrief.
I know. So we'll get to talk day prior to auction day as well. So.
Can't wait. Thank you, Joe.
Okay. See ya.